We're talking today with our new amateur historian here on Veterans Radio, Joe Neussendorfer. Joe, welcome to Veterans Radio, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Jim. I have been a historian for 50 years. I have written hundreds of history articles on various subjects, curated local history exhibits, and lectured on such subjects as architecture, engineering, surveying, and early Native Americans. My interest in military slang stems from my service as a U.S. Air Force veteran, and a keen interest in specialized subculture language and professional experience in communicating technical information.
Well, you got a few different phrases for us today to remind our veteran radio listeners of what this military slang is about. Why don't you start with grunts?
Okay, the first area I'd like to cover is military grunts versus POGS. And there's always been a lively rivalry amongst all branches of the U.S. military. One branch of service is pitted against another in football games and other rivalry sports competitions. However, there's a constant non-sports rivalry within each branch of service. It is who are on the ground workers versus who are the brain workers, or brawn versus brain. The brawn guys and gals are referred to as grunts, those who are out there on the front line, usually the infantry in the Army. Grunts bear the burden of the combat, kicking in doors and facing the enemy head on. They are subject to the highest risk. The brain guys, gals, are referred to as POGS, P-O-G-S. This meaning, in military talk, person other than a grunt. It has often become a derogatory term or insult of some sort. To put things in proper perspective, however, for an effective operating military, it takes both grunts and POGs working together. What all servicemen and women should remember is that combat missions are carried out because of the part each one plays, such as maintenance of the jets ensures the performance of a mission. The building of bridges and clearing of IEDs helps facilitate carrying out of the infantry role. Before a missile reaches its final destination, several hands played a part. You can't fight the enemy without ammunition transport to the fight or indirect fire from air support. So let's give a vigorous Veterans Radio shout out and salute to both grunts and POGs that are all doing their part to keep us safe.
Well, Joe, and I think anybody who's been in the service, you also realize that sometimes you're a grunt and sometimes you're a POG.
That's right, double duty.
Yeah, based on your assignment. And in my experience, this has always been kind of in good fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no insult intended on any part. It's all tongue in cheek.
Well, I think in the civilian world, they might have figured out what a grunt was, that ground pounder who's doing the work, busting down the doors. But now you've enlightened them about what POGs are. So I think some of them may want to be recognized as a POG in their organization. So great little update on some military slang for our veteran radio listeners.
Like what you heard? Listen to this full episode and more on the Apple Podcasts app, Blog Talk Radio, Google Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. And now streaming on Amazon Music, Audible, and Spotify.